So by the end of summer, you would have learned the Python programming language by taking a beginner and intermediate classes, and then be able to have a real strong background. So when you return to your teams in the fall, you would actually have an option whether you would definitely want to code in block language, but if you had a particular routine or something you wanted to do one in Python, it'd actually be a very good skill for you to have, not only just for your robotics team, but for life. And so we will be offering that starting in June through August. I have a software developer who is out of actually Columbus, Ohio, who is going to teach it remotely, as well as I have a local college student who is going to teach the beginning one. She goes to the University of North Texas, but she was born and raised here. So please consider, and I'm letting everybody in the room, please consider signing up for that Python class that's going to be coming up very soon. Registration will be open. We'll send out a link. We'll make sure that each of you have a chance to sign up for it. We'll make sure each of you have a chance to sign up for it so you can, develop your skills. The second opportunity that I wanted to share with you is we're going to be offering a online virtual drone racing sport, e-sport clubs. And we are looking at having students that are already interested in gaming. And the concept here is for this first summer is for you to learn how to fly a drone through the virtual simulator. However, this particular activity may cost some money because there is a piece of equipment you have to purchase to connect to your computer. So we will finalize that particular sign up, but you have to buy basically an RC radio radio frequency type hand controller to be able to actually fly the drone correctly, as well as your computer would have to meet certain video requirements and all that. So just stay tuned for those two things, Python coding class and the virtual drone racing. So without any further ado, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Rob and Rand. Rob, if you want to lead us into today's class. I love you guys. I'm going to have to go on mute, and I have 2 other meetings that are going to happen. So if you just see my picture stand still, I'm actually here. I can listen, but I'm going to probably go on mute to join another call.
All right. Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? Give me a big thumbs up if you're ready for today. All right. Firepaw, can you hear us? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear us, Firepaw. I'm not sure if you can hear us, but it looks like I'm getting thumbs up from everybody else. Good morning, and what we're going to do, we're going to start off with first is you guys had a little bit of an assignment to take on from our last weekend where Radar took us through some programming, learning how to use the sensors. So I'm going to have Mr. Radar step in to do a little recap, and then maybe he can call on those of you who are ready to demonstrate what you learned from using the sensor. So Mr. Radar, if you want to take over from here.
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. Did everybody get a chance to use sensors to make their robots behave even smarter? Everybody gave it a try? So kind of the first task we talked about was using the ultrasonic sensor in the sandbox to not run into the walls. If you remember how we did that. And did anybody give that a try that wants to show their program? Anybody get the ultrasonic sensor working in the sandbox? Nope. Did you guys jump ahead and try the color sensor? Ah, okay.
Shook his head yes.
Okay. Well, I will just do a real quick reminder here of how we.
Viper, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah.
Looks like he's holding his hand up. Do you have a question, Viper?
We couldn't get our sensors to operate at full capacity. Does anybody have any idea how to like reset those or get them to run?
When you say you couldn't get them at full capacity, what do you mean?
We couldn't get them to sense the right colors.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now, it might be our computer is just dogging really bad. Couldn't tell.
Oh, so
we're using
maybe a
an old
delay?
MacBook.
Yeah.
We're using this old thing.
So maybe there's a little delay in seeing the white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't seem to pick up anything.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, we're not even sure if we have the sensor on this particular robot.
Or it's on the back side, and so it crosses the white before it can do anything about it.
And then it grinds to a halt. I think with two robots here, holy cow, this thing doesn't want to try to render those. So
Oh.
that's partly our problem, but there's some stuff I think we need to learn there.
Okay, well, we'll be touching on that. We'll be touching on that a little bit later today, actually. Okay. So.
He has a brand new Mac that we can't utilize because the software hasn't caught up for the Wi-Fi, and they said they weren't going to. So we're kind of stuck.
The new Mindstorm software doesn't like to play with this.
It
I can tell.
hasn't caught up to the new Mac yet. Okay. All right. Well, we'll jump to the color sensor in just a minute, and I think I have some ideas that might help you there.
Okay.
But before we do that, I just wanted to recap how to use the ultrasonic sensor as well. And remember what we did is on our robot, so can everybody see the screen I'm sharing right now?
Yes.
All right, so I'm in the sandbox. And when I select the option to add sensors to the robot, I put the ultrasonic sensor on there. If I click on that, it'll show it's kind of in the front. And we can switch it around and see that. And so I'll make sure I've got an ultrasonic sensor on the robot. And then let's jump into EV3 and I'll show you what the program looks like here. So my program for avoiding walls is a really big loop. And first thing I do is I turn my motors on, which means the robot's going to go forward because both motors are on. And then I wait for my ultrasonic sensor. And so I got a wait block down in the orange. I'll show you where that is. That's right here. Got a little hourglass. And what I did is the wait block, I selected ultrasonic sensor compare distance in centimeters. And then I made sure I'm looking for less than, which is number 4. And then I gave it 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive forward until the ultrasonic sensor sees something that's less than 10 centimeters away. And if it does, then it's going to go to the next block where I set the speed backwards. So I'm going to go backwards for 1 rotation. Then I'm going to turn a little bit. And then if I move this over, all this is in one big loop. So it's going to do the same thing over and over and over again. So let's take a look and see whether that'll actually work. So we're in our sandbox. I'm going to zoom back a little bit so we can see the whole sandbox. And let me try running it. Whoops. And once again, I am in the wrong place. I'll try running it right there.
Oh, got to connect to your brick.
Oh, I haven't woken the brick up yet.
There
So
you
I got to go turn the Wi-Fi on. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna drive, sees a block obstacle, sees the wall obstacle. That block it didn't see very well, but it saw that wall. So using the ultrasonic sensor with the weight block. So before I move on, any questions about how we did that? Yes, Viper.
We're just looking at if we can copy this strand of code you have, and we can't find the ultrasonic sensor. Is there a special type of weight block we should be using?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I'm going to make this full screen. So it is, go to the orange and select the weight block, the hourglass. And then,
Yeah, that's the one we're using.
all right, and then click on, so when you click on the hourglass, you get time. And when you click on time, you'll get a list of other things it can wait on. And one of those should be the ultrasonic sensor. Is it there? Then
no, you actually have more sensors than us. So.
You know, it might.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder why. Huh. But do you have ultrasonic?
That's all right. I think we got the principle. We
okay.
Use an older computer, so.
You select the ultrasonic and then compare and then distance centimeters.
Okay.
And that'll get it set up to wait for centimeters.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Get that running.
How about the rest of the group? Anybody else get an ultrasonic sensor working?
King Dior, did you guys give it a try? Can you hear us?
I tried it, but it didn't work.
Oh.
Only the color sensor worked for me.
Oh, you got the color sensor working though. Okay. It actually should be pretty close to the same program as the color sensor. The only difference is you have to make sure you put an ultrasonic sensor on the virtual robot. But so do we want to jump ahead and talk about the color sensor?
Give a thumbs up if you're ready to talk about the color sensor. Thumbs up, color sensor. Got a thumbs up from Viper.
All right.
There's no other way around it. The only way is not to touch it.
We're using a line follower.
You see, Mom, that's
well, the line follower uses the color sensor. So.
Okay, just don't touch it.
Give me some space now.
Okay, good. I'm gonna go.
Okay, go ahead, Radar.
All right, so let's jump ahead and talk about how we use the color sensor. So for the color sensor, let's go back and look. I like to use the sumo ring. And so I'll show you how we grab the sumo ring. So we can go up here and I'll get rid of my under basics. Oops, let's get rid of this guy so we can see a little better. And we'll scroll down a little bit, and I like Sumo EV3. So we will select that one, say okay to the environment. Sure. And that will take us to the sumo ring. Hopefully. There we go. There is our sumo ring. Put that where we can see it. And in the sumo ring, we got 2 robots, and we can actually download programs to both of them if we want to. But the important thing about the sumo ring is we've got this black ring but a white stripe around the outside. So what we're going to do is make sure we have a color sensor on our robot. So we're going to look at the red robot. And let's go up here and click on the gears. And yes, we've got a color sensor on the robot. And if we click on it, you can see that it's right there in front. So I'll click OK. And so let's talk about how we use that color sensor. I'm going to pull up my Sumo program. And let's look at the EV3 program that uses the color sensor. So we start, and the first thing I put in my Sumo robot is I have it wait for 5 seconds. And that gives me a chance to get, if I'm running 2 robots, that gives me a chance to get both robots started. So I like to make it wait. You don't have to put a wait in there. You can have your robot start running right away if you want. Then the next thing we do is we've got a big loop, because the Sumo program is doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I picked a big loop that repeats forever. And inside this loop, the first thing I do is I turn my motors on. So I grabbed a steering block, but I selected on for both motors on, which means the robot's going to go forward. Then I used a wait block again, just like we used for the ultrasonic sensor. So that was under orange here. But for this wait block, I selected the color sensor, and then I said compare color. And then in the next line, I have to tell it what color to look for. So on this one, I told it I unchecked everything except number 6, which is the white. So what it's going to do is it's going to go forward and wait until it sees white. And if it sees white, then it's going to go to the next block. And this one goes backwards because I made the speed negative for 1 rotation. And then it turns a little bit for 1 rotation. And then the whole thing runs again. Looks like I got a spelling error here. We'll try that. All right, so anybody have any questions about how to use the color sensor in the Sumo program? Then let me show you how it runs. So we're going to jump back to VRT. I'm going to connect to the red robot, and let's download and run it. And remember, it's waiting for 5 seconds, and then it's going and sees the white line, it backs up and it turns, sees the white line, backs up and turns, goes forward, sees the white line, back up and turn. And I don't have the other robot running, so it should be a pretty easy match, but maybe not. Oh no!
Oh.
Oh, it's doing pretty well even though it fell
Wow.
down. Hey,
Amazing.
wow!
Hey.
What a deal. I won against a robot that wasn't running. So.
Wow. And you even fell down in the process.
And even fell down in the process. So, does anybody have a Sumo program they want to show us?
Yeah, we do, but it's not working correctly right now.
Oh, well, should we take a look and see if we can?
Yeah, even if you want to just show what your code looks like.
Oh, before I forget, I want to show you something that will be really helpful if you're trying to get your program working. if you click on port view right here,
Oh, it's that one.
it's going to tell you, you know what, we're going to run this again because I got to show you what's kind of really cool about port view.
That's what we forgot. We forgot to set it to the right port.
Ah.
That.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
All right. So if we run it again and we're on port view, the cool thing is you get to watch and see what the color sensor sees. Our color sensor is right here, and you can see it sees 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, sees a 6 and backs up 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that can be really useful for debugging why your sensor might not be working. So did you want to, Viper, do you have a program you want to share?
Unmute us.
Yeah, we do.
No, I don't think we do.
Oh, it's not working?
I think it's working. Just
Well, I think one thing you need to know, on the Virtual Robotics Toolkit, when we make sure it has the color sensor, how do we make sure that's assigned to port 3, or at least the right one?
Usually,
it's right there at the top again.
So far, every time I've done it, when I grab the weight block and turn it to color sensor, it assigns the correct port to whatever it was connected to. I'm not sure under VRT, there might be under the advanced settings where it will tell you what port it's assigned to, but I don't see it here.
In the simple menu, you don't have to worry about the port assignments. It automatically connects with the right port.
All right.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the simple menu then. Right now we're in advanced view. Let's see if this works. Go down here, click play. Okay, if this works, well, I'll show you guys. You didn't click play. Click play. Okay, no, click there. Click there. Click up here.
Oh, you don't see it. It's thinking.
Come on. Yeah!
Made a noise.
Going backwards.
Driving backwards very slowly. We're going to go right off the edge. I can already tell. Oh, he did it.
Hey.
He did it.
All right, now you have to share.
Okay.
Hold on, I have to go back.
Can you pin our video?
Yeah, we can't see what we're displaying.
I think Radar has to stop sharing first.
Oh, I need to stop?
I think you have to stop sharing first, and then...
I'll try that.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
And I'll just set this.
Oh,
right.
they're just going to turn their camera towards it instead of sharing.
Yeah. All
so
right.
We're cheating. Well, yeah, we have a separate computer here for this one.
Gotcha.
Two
The
computers.
old beast.
Get the angle right.
Oh, man, it is so groaning.
There we go. Hey, Dad, reset that. Reset us.
Yeah, it doesn't want to reset. Oh, that's right. Function F12. No, what did I just
Wrong
do?
one. Wrong one. That's Grand Canyon.
There we go.
There we go. And click it. Man, this thing is old. Oh, what happened to our color sensor? It's gone.
Yeah, it disappeared again. Okay, well, it's going to start moving. Oh, yeah, we can see it up there. It's moving. I think it lost its color sensor again.
Yeah, I lost it. It was.
Oh my gosh.
When you're adding the sensors, are you out of... Is the simulator stopped?
We had our color sensor.
When you added the sensor, did you add it when the simulator was stopped?
No.
I think that makes a difference, that you have to be up, the simulator has to be stopped.
Wow. I've never seen a color sensor disappear before.
All right. We'll see if we can get it back up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for trying to share, guys.
Yeah.
Put that color sensor back on there.
Yeah, it keeps disappearing. Center.
You
add it.
You can literally see how laggy this is.
Yeah, it's pretty now. Yeah, now our robot down here picked up. It says, "Oh, I got a color sensor."
Know where the
Now it's
iron
right.
is?
I bet you it'll work this time.
The iron?
Now go! Go, 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 go!
It's in my room.
Yes, you beautiful beast, go!
Hey, all right.
Now let's see what happens.
Well,
Yeah, the color sensor just disappeared.
I don't know if I told it to go really. I don't think I told it to go that slow. I think it's having trouble because there's 2 bricks on here.
Yeah.
This computer doesn't know how to.
I'm gonna try and get
It
that
struggles.
reflection.
Oh, well, you can see me.
Yeah, that's better.
There.
Is it going to
There you
see the edge?
There we go. It's gonna see it and it's gonna fight. Sumo fight. Think we're gonna have the same outcome as you?
I don't know.
Fight, fight, fight,
You're
fight,
gonna hit
fight,
'em.
fight, 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 fight.
We have a collision.
It's yeah, this is the slowest fight in human history.
Ah. What's your motor
It's not
speed
even
at?
moving. I guess Brad wins because it's moving.
What if we tried to make it
No. Okay.
so it would only be
crap.
on the white
Oh
one?
crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
Massive frame rate.
Isaiah, you had a question?
Right.
I said, yeah.
What?
I said, what if we tried to make it so it was only on the white side?
Oh, the robot only stays on the white part?
Yeah.
Well, then it's right on the edge of the mat and it might fall off.
That's why.
You could make it so it stays just right on the edge of the white. Yep. Let's see. Firepaw, how you doing? Have you had a chance to try sensors at all? No, maybe he doesn't hear us.
Who?
I was asking Firepaw if he had a chance to try sensors at all. No, looks like he's not hearing us. Isaiah, have you had a chance to try any sensors? No? How about, did you get your robot going forward and backward?
Yeah.
Excellent, okay. Well, you should give either a light sensor or an ultrasonic sensor a try. Because they're a lot of fun.
King Dior, did you guys get a chance to try any of the sensors?
I don't.
Can't tell.
Oh, we got a thumbs up.
Is
All
there
right.
anything you wanted to show, even just showing the code?
No, I hear you. Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, that's what he does.
Okay. All right, Radar, you can move on.
Well, that is pretty much all I was going to say about well, actually, no, I was going to show you one trick with the color sensor. This may be useful for Viper in that, let's see, let me share this again. One thing you can do is that in our older Lego sets, we didn't have a color sensor. We had a light sensor. And it wouldn't tell us what color we saw. It would tell us from a number from 0 to 100 how light or dark the color was underneath the sensor. And so the way that you could use that is in your weight block. When you select color sensor, you could go color compare, and do reflected light intensity. And what that'll do is it'll wait until it sees a color that's less than 50 or a brightness that's less than 50. And we want to change that. We want to make it a brightness that's bigger than 50, because white is probably brighter than the black. This might be a little bit more robust than looking for a particular color. So that might be worth a try. So I'll show you where that is. That's right here. You select color sensor, compare, and instead of color, you can go down to reflected light. And then here we would tell it greater, we're waiting for a value that's greater than 50, which means we're waiting for a brighter color. So, any other questions about using sensors? All right, well, Viper, you had a comment about, oh yeah, question?
We don't have a light sensor.
Oh, you don't? Oh, it doesn't say reflected light?
Yeah, all we have is brick buttons, color sensor, infrared sensor.
Well, select color sensor.
Oh, reflected light intensity. See right
Yeah.
Ah.
So even in
the
the actual Lego blocks, your color sensor can also do reflected light intensity. And sometimes that is a little bit more robust. It works slightly better than trying to detect a specific color. So it's worth a try if your robot is not detecting the edge of the mat. But if your color sensor keeps disappearing, the program won't help with that. So
As long as we know it's disappearing, we can put it back.
well, yeah. Now that you know what it's doing, that's a good point. So.
And literally every single one of them is gone.
All right. So, Robo, one option is I could talk about one other thing we could do with the color sensor. Does it make sense to move on at this point?
Sure, we can do that.
All right. So, Viper, you said something a little bit earlier about following a line. And people want to hear about how you make a robot follow a line. Would that be useful? All right. I'm seeing some thumbs up there. So, all right. Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that I'm actually not gonna tell you how to follow a line, because it's a lot easier, rather than following a line, it's a lot easier to make your robot follow the edge of a line. It's a lot more accurate. Okay, everybody see my picture of a line here? All right, so here's a black line. And instead of following the black line, I am going to have my robot follow this edge right between the dark and the white, right there. Then it doesn't matter if I have a really wide line or a really narrow line. I'm still going to follow just the edge of that line. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use a color sensor, and I'm going to have the color sensor look at the line. And so if my robot is right over the line, the color sensor is going to see black. And in my program, what I'm going to tell my robot to do is if they see black, I'm going to have it turn right. So it's going to go this way a little bit. And then I'm going to repeat, and I'm going to look. And this time, my color sensor is going to see white. And if my color sensor ever sees white, I'm going to have it turn left. And I'm just going to keep repeating that. So if the robot ever sees black, it's going to turn white, right. And if it ever sees white, it's going to turn left. And that is going to zigzag back and forth, but it's going to stay right on this edge of this line. So let me show you how we do that with a light sensor. So we're going to put a light sensor or a color sensor on our robot, and we're going to use that color sensor to decide, do we turn right or do we turn left? So it's going to look at the line. It's going to tell us what color it sees. And if it sees black, we're going to turn right. If it sees anything other than black, we're going to turn left. So does that make sense? Any questions so far about following a line or following the edge of a line? Yes, Viper.
I was wondering, during the competition, I saw our line follower go back and forth and back and forth.
Yep.
Would it necessarily one part of it always stay directly on the line, or would you keep on going past the black line like over and over again?
Well, it's hard to make the sensor always stay on the line because you don't know if the line's going to turn. And so there's no way the robot can like predict ahead of time. So the robot needs a sensor to look and see where the line is going. And sometimes that sensor is going to see that it's not on the line, and it's going to have to make a change to the robot. So there's always going to be a little bit of going back and forth while the sensor looks for the line. And one thing that we can control is kind of how much it goes back and forth. I call that the waggle in a line follower. And we'll show you that in just a minute. So the way we would write the program is, first of all, we're going to have one big loop, and then we're going to use something called a switch statement. And a switch statement allows us to decide one path or a different path in the program depending on a sensor. So we're going to write our program. So if the light sensor sees dark, then we want it to turn right slightly. And if it sees light, then we're going to have it turn left slightly. And then we're going to use the loop to do that over and over and over again. So what that means is when our light sensor sees dark, it's going to go right. And when it sees not dark, it's going to turn left. So let me show you what that program might look like. And I think what we'll do is we'll start with a brand new program, and I'll show you how to write line following. So the first thing we need to do is we need to tell our robot to start moving. So we're going to just tell our robot we're going to turn our motors on, and we're going to move forward. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong block. I'm going to grab a steer block. And what we're going to do is just move forward for one rotation. And I'll tell you in a minute why we have to do that. But the most important part of our robot is we're going to do this over and over and over again. So we need to have a loop. And this loop is going to go forever. So we want to line follow, keep line following over and over and over again. Now for the control part. And what we're going to do is an if or a switch statement. And so right here is the switch statement. And I'm going to put that in my loop. And I'm going to show you what this switch statement does. What the switch statement does is it looks at a sensor And I'm going to switch the sensor to color sensor, measure color. And if it sees black up here, it's going to do whatever blocks I put up here. If it doesn't see black, it's going to do whatever blocks I see down here. And I'm going to make this the default, which means if it doesn't see black, it's going to do whatever's down here. Now I need to put some things in these blocks, in these paths. And those are going to be moved blocks, but I'm going to do one motor at a time. So I'm going to put move blocks in these paths. So if it sees black, I want it to turn right a little bit. So what I'm going to do is turn motor B on at half power, 50% power. And I am going to turn motor C off. So question for you. What is the robot going to do if I turn one motor on and the other motor off? Any ideas? So, Robo, you are muted.
You're right. What happens if one motor is on and the second motor is off?
So think about like if you were driving a wheelchair and you stopped one side and moved the other side forward.
Looks like we've got a comment from Dr. Wolf, and he says it's going to spin to the right.
Hey, it's going to turn to the right. Yes. So that's what's going to happen up here. If we see the black line, turning one motor on and one motor off, we're going to turn to the right. Now, if we don't see the black line, we want to turn left. And the way we're going to make it turn left, we're going to use two move blocks again. But for the B, we're actually going to turn it off. So we're going to stop B. And then for C, we're going to turn that on half power. And that is our entire program to do line following. So we're going to check the color. If it's black, we're going to turn B on and C off. If it's not black, we're going to turn B off and C on. And then we're going to repeat over and over and over again. Now I'm going to show you this program where I added some comments so you can see a little bit better what's happening at every place. So we're checking the light sensor. If it sees black, it's going to do whatever's up here. If it sees not black, it's going to do whatever's down here. And then it's going to repeat over and over and over again.
So quick question, guys. Just what is a loop? What does a loop do?
Excuse me.
Viper?
Why doesn't it just move forward instead?
Oh, hold up. Before you ask your question, I asked the question and want you guys to answer. What does a loop do?
It repeats the program many times.
It repeats a command or a program many times. And in the example that Radar gave for the line following, where do you see the loop at? Where is the loop indicated at? Isaiah, do you know where the loop is at?
The loop is the biggest thing on the screen.
It's the container, right? The container that's holding the other commands. And it looks like Radar is naming it right now. Big loop. The big container that holds everything.
This whole thing is a loop. and it does it over and over and over again.
Now the follow-up question is, what is a switch? What does the switch do? You heard two things, a loop and you heard a switch. What does the switch do? The switch is the command that says an if then. If I see this, then do this, right? And where is the switch indicated in the example that Radar did for line following? Where do you see a switch? If this happens, then do this. Or if I see this, I want you to do this. Anyone know where they see a switch? Isaiah, do you see a switch? Oh, Viper,
I see a big switch
where do you see the switch indicated?
right in the center of the big loop.
And what does this switch say to do?
If it does see black, have one motor off and the other motor on. Same thing for the bottom, but one motor's on and the other motor's off.
Is he correct, Radar?
Yep.
All right, great job, Viper.
So they're reversed.
No.
Okay.
All right. Now I do have a little bit of a crazy block at the beginning that has the robot go forward and turn a tiny bit for one rotation. And I will show you why I needed to do that. So first, I need to go to a different section of VRT. I am going to go to the dreaded maze. So we're going to select the maze. All right, so here is the maze. And if I'm jumping around a little bit here. Where'd you go, maze? Whoa, upside down maze. Whee! Let's do it like this and zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole thing. There we are. So what we need to do in the maze is start in this green box, go around these mountains, and try to get to the red box. That's our goal. And there just happens to be a black line that goes through the maze. And so we are going to try to get our robot to follow this black line all the way through the maze, or to be more accurate, to follow the edge of the black line. But one of the problems with this particular maze is that the robot starts in this green box. It's not on the line when it first starts. So the first thing we need to do is we need to have our robot move a little bit to get to the line. And so that is what the box this first move block does, is it moves the robot forward just enough to get it out of the green box and towards the black line. So let's give this robot a try. See if we can get this robot to follow line. So I'm going to, all right. And it's following the edge of the line. Oh, we got a curve. So far it's staying pretty much on the line. There we go, it made it. And now it does a little victory dance. Actually, it's going in circles trying to find the line some more. I don't have it stop line following. So let me jump back to the program here. So does anybody have any questions about how to make a robot follow a line or follow the edge of a line? Yes, Viper.
How does that move forward so fast?
Ah, good question. So in the program right here, when I turn one motor off and one motor on, I get to select the speed of the on motor. And the faster I do the on motor, the faster the robot's gonna go. But remember, it's just one motor, so it goes back and forth in zigzaggy. So the faster I make the bigger I make this number, the faster the robot's gonna go, but the more zigzaggy it's gonna do, because it's gonna take bigger jumps each time. So as a lot of times in robots, it's gonna be a speed versus accuracy problem. If you're making really big zigzaggies, you might miss a sharp turn and you might get off the line. So if you have a really complicated path you're trying to follow, you might want to make this number smaller and make your robot go slow and accurate to follow that line. But if you're concerned about it's a fairly straight line and it's a speed race, you want to make this number bigger and have it take bigger jumps. So that is really a big way you can adjust how fast your robot follows that line.
Hey, Radar, can you go back and do it again, but this time zoom in, just choose the window for the VRT so that it becomes the big window and you don't see your programming window. There you go,
all
like
right.
that.
Let me also see if I can.
There we go.
All right.
This.
We try that.
It goes that way, this way, that way, this way.
That makes sense.
It just keeps zigzagging back and forth, seeing the line, turning right, not seeing the line, turning left. Complete. Excuse me. So are there any questions about using sensors for following lines?
I have a question for you, Radar.
Yes.
You mentioned that we were following the edge of the line.
Yes.
So in the example that we just saw with the maze,
yep,
it must have been following, which edge of the line was it following? The right edge or the left edge?
Ah, excellent question. So let's look at that maze again. And let's zoom in. There. That answers the question. We are following the right edge of the line. Any other line following questions?
Why doesn't it follow the line on the other side?
Ah, well, we could.
Like it goes straight, and then it.
So right now we're following the right edge of the line. You're asking how we might follow the other edge of the line, the left edge of the line? Is that your question?
No, my question was, there's like a segue where you can go two different ways. It's a two-way. And then he chooses the path that looks like he's about to crash into the wall.
Oh, when I get to the line intersection, that question?
Yes.
Ah, that's a really good question. Okay, so we're going to run it again. And I think we'll be able to answer that question as we zoom in. Now remember, it's following the right edge of the line. So, okay, we got an intersection coming up. We got to make a decision. But if we keep following the right edge of the line, when we get to this point right here, staying on this right edge always means we're going to take this path and not this path. If our program was following the left edge of the line, this edge, we would have gone on this path instead. So does that explain how we decided which way to turn there?
No, we can barely hear.
Oh, okay. Let me.
We could barely hear anything. You were kind of breaking up.
Oh no, sorry about that. All right, let me run this one more time. All right, so remember we're following the right edge of the line. So we're following this outside path of the line right there. So we're following that outside path. And I'm going to stop it right here. So we've got an intersection coming up. How does the robot decide if it's going this way or if it's going this way? If I'm following the outside, the right edge of the line, I'm going to always take the right turn, the path on the right side. Okay? If my robot, does that make sense, Cameron? Okay. Now.
Also, could you follow that with a color sensor?
Oh, this is a color sensor. Yep.
What about a light sensor? Could you do it with a light sensor?
You sure could. Yes. You would just tell your light sensor that your light sensor is going to give you a low number for the line and a high number for things that's not the line. So you would say if the light sensor sees a value maybe less than 30, figure it's the line and turn right, and more than 30, turn left. And that's how you could follow that line with a light sensor, not a color sensor. Now, we could change our program. So let me jump back to this. And so right now our program, if we see the line, if our sensor sees black or a really low number, if it's a color light sensor, we turn right. But what if instead we changed our program and told it, if we see black, turn left? What that would mean is that the robot would instead follow this side of the line. So what that means in our program is if we switched the B and the C and said, if we see black, turn the other direction, then we would follow, instead of the right edge of the line, we would follow the left edge of the line. And then the robot would probably make a different choice at that intersection. Is that something we want to give a try?
Yes, yes, definitely. Bravo.
Right. All right, I'm going to warn you, this is an experiment. I haven't done this before. And since it's an experiment, it might not work. But I'm quickly going to change my program. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to say, right here where I'm turning C off, now instead I'm going to turn it on. And where B off, I'm going to turn B. So I'm just swapping which motors are on and which motors are off. Now, the other problem is that this little go forward put us on the wrong side of the line now. So we're going to go forward and turn the other way a little bit. All right, this is a huge experiment. We're going to reset. All right, robot. Hopefully this works. Ah! All right. Not quite. Let's try again. Oops. Stop the robot. Oh! That was close, but not quite. Could get dizzy.
There we go.
Hey! All right, we're following the left side of the line. What is it going to do at the intersection? No, it missed. All right, well, I told you this was a big experiment.
Warriors path. Warriors path. Warriors.
All right, we're following the other side of the line now, but it still missed that intersection for some reason.
What if we can make it use both lines? Like make it turn when it gets to the red and go down the warrior's path back to the green.
Oh, I bet that's possible. All right, I'm going to try one thing. I'm going to try slowing it down a little bit. We'll go 28 and 28. All right, last try. Oops. Stop the robot. Start the robot. Okay, go forward. Find the line. Now it's going a lot slower, but maybe it's a little bit more accurate. Nope, it still missed it. Now, if you wanted to continue and follow the line past the red, we'd probably have to add a section to our program that it could detect the red box, and it would know where, when it got to the red, and then it would try turning and looking for the line. But that's probably more programming than we can do today. So, all right. So what I would end up doing is adjusting these speed values in the motors to try to make it more accurate, and maybe I would be able to get it to see that edge of that other line and take that other intersection. But I think I'll move on to, are there other questions about line following or sensor programming?
King DR, you're breaking up.
King Dior, you're having an odd.
It's King Dubai. It's King Dubai. The program isn't working very good for us.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a connection issue.
Yeah. I can hear myself.
Firepaw, did you have a question about sensors?
No, not really.
Okay.
I was gonna say though is can we use Sumo this for this time again?
Yeah, we're gonna end with one more demonstration in the Sumo.
Oh. Okay.
Mr. Wolf, Dr. Wolf.
We can hear you. Is this King Dior? We can hear you, but you're having an issue, audio issue.
This is King Dior. Sorry, this is King Dior. My brother just is having closed feeds. He needs to ask you a question. And I'm handing it over to King Dior. He needs help with the program.
Okay.
Sorry, he's having cold. Shy. Dior. I just need to tell him that. Okay, Dior, ask him.
Whoop. We were hearing you okay for a minute there, King Duar, but now you're on mute again.
Okay, my brother.
We'll have to work out their audio issues.
Ah, okay.
That might have been my fault.
All right. So what we're going to do here before we end is some of the things you learned today in a recap with radar was he mentioned the loop, which makes something happen indefinitely, and the switch, which is an if-then statement, which tells something, if I see this or I encounter this, then to do this. If and then. All right.
So the loop is right here. Pull that out. And everything you put in the middle here, it'll run over and over and over again until you turn the robot off. Okay?
Yeah. So what we'll do is I'm going to show you in a Sumo program what that looks like that used a loop, a switch, a color sensor, and the ultrasonic sensor for an if-then statement. I'll show you what that looks like.
Ooh.
Okay, does everybody see what I'm sharing on the screen? Give me a thumbs up if you see the VRT at the top and the DV3 program at the bottom.
I think the mic's working now. I don't know how to.
Does everybody see what I'm sharing on the
I do
screen?
not know how to make. My brother, our mic is working again now. Sorry about the technical with the audio.
Okay,
My
no
brother's
problem,
gonna
guys.
ask us now. I do not know. Well, did you hear him?
Yeah, your mic is having issues. That's the problem.
Yeah, King Door, you're still having mic issues. Robo, yes, we can see what you're sharing.
Okay, very good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go in and turn on the Sumo. I'm going to turn off.
Can you hear us?
Not very well. You're having mic issues. Okay, so then we're going to go down here to Sumo and open up an environment. Let that start up. All right, and we're going to use the red robot. Okay, so if we zoom in here, you see right now it doesn't have any sensors on it at all. So we're going to add sensors, an ultrasonic sensor and a color sensor to it. So we're going to go up to the menu, and I'm going to go into the VRT all the way here first. Go up to the menu to the sensor, the attachments, and you'll notice over here on the left, in the Sumo, you have a whole lot, not only sensors, but you also have some equipment that you can add to your robot, some fighting equipment. But we're going to worry about right now is putting our sensor on. So we're going to add a color sensor, and we're adding it to the very front, right in the center. Okay, so that way we got a nice even spot where it can detect the white lines. So we're adding the color sensor. We'll say add, and you now see it shows on the bottom. And we're going to add an ultrasonic sensor, and it's going to be placed up at the top. So color sensor is in the center, and the ultrasonic sensor is added in the center as well. And we'll say add. And we'll go back and look, and sure enough, there's our ultrasonic at the top, and our color sensor is at the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to go back up and go out of the environment and turn on the two windows, so now we can see the program. Now, one of the things that Radar taught us was that when you're doing the program, let me bring the EV3 up big. When you're doing the program, it really helps when you add comments that can help you explain what you're seeing, what you're doing, right? But I'm going to show it to you without the comments first. So what you would be looking at, we learned about loops and we learned about switches. So this loop, I called this my Sumo loop seek and destroy. So everything that's inside of this loop will happen infinitely. And that's what this tells you over here. My loop is going to continue to happen over and over and over. Everything that's inside here will happen over and over and over. And I'll turn it with the comments on first. So what this loop is saying that, let's start over here on the left. This first sensor is the color sensor, and I've told it to look for white. If it sees white, which the number 6 is what I've told it, that's for white. If it sees white, then do this. All right. This is the part of the switch. This is the switch, and if then. So this part out here is the loop. This in here, is the switch. See how it's outlined in blue? This is the switch. Loop, outlined in blue. Switch, outlined in blue. And the first part of my switch says use the color sensor, and if I see white, which I selected down here, if I see white, number 6, then do this. Shut the motor off, back up. So you have these negative numbers here, which tells it to back up, and I'm using tank steering. So both motors will back up -30 for 1 rotation. And then once it's backed up for one rotation, I want it to turn. So the left motor goes in reverse, the right motor is going to go forward. So it's going to turn to the left for one rotation. I see white, shut the motor off, then back up, both motors back up for one rotation, and then the left motor stays in reverse and the right motor goes forward. If I see white. If I don't see white, then I want to do this part down here. I want to use the ultrasonic sensor to now look for my opponent, to seek it out, to find that other robot. And then, so it's going to check for the opponent using distance. So I said, use the ultrasonic for distance. And in this case, ultrasonic, compare, and I'm using centimeters right here. I wanted it to use centimeters instead of inches. Centimeters. So if I see something that's less than, and I chose the less than variable, if I see something that's less than 40 centimeters, then I want to attack it. And that's what this top part here says, attack. And go at it with both motors at 100% speed. So the left motor is 100, the right motor is 100. So that's what it says, seek the opponent and attack at full speed. If it's greater than 40 centimeters, the distance away is greater than 40 centimeters, then I gotta seek out the opponent. I'm going to move forward at 50% speed on both motors. So if I don't see, if the opponent is not seen, move forward looking for the opponent until you see white or the opponent. So it's going to move forward until it either sees the edge of the ring or until it sees my opponent. So I've got two sensors, the color sensor looking for the edge of the ring, and the ultrasonic sensor is now helping me look for my opponent. Okay? A loop and a switch. And here's what this is going to look like. So let's go back down here, and we're going to use the red robot. So and you see right now it's showing me both the red robot and the blue robot. We're going to use the red. I'm going to turn on the brick. I'm going to go back up here so we can see both the program and the fighting environment. And I'm going to get it here so we can see. Okay, so you notice over on the brick now, there's red and there's blue. Both robots are showing, and it says blue right here, VRT bot blue. And when you click on the red, VRT bot red. And I said we're going to use the red. So the brick is on. We're going to upload or download the program to the robot. And now we're going to tell it to go. And first thing you're going to notice is you're going to see a blue beam coming out of the ultrasonic. That lets you know that it's... I'm sorry, I heard a question.
Can you show me the sensor again?
The sensors again?
Yes.
Okay, where they're at or where they're at on the robot?
I mean
Are you asking how you get the sensor on the robot?
can I see the program?
I can't understand what he's saying, Radar.
Yeah, it might be better if he typed the question in the chat window.
In the chat, yeah.
I didn't know Windows got the same mouse.
Okay, so here, let's demonstrate what's going to happen now since we uploaded the program to the red robot. I'm going to
Would you rather I yelled at you?
use the brick commands to go to it. So there's my sumo, click on that, seek and destroy, and I'm going to hit start. Notice the ultrasonic.
Ooh.
It sees the white edge. It's still seeking. Found the robot, and now it just attacks at 100% power.
Nice.
Pushed it off, and it wins. Yay! Red scores. Let's hit stop.
How do you do that?
And we'll do it one more time. Now, someone asked where you get the sensors at. remember this, I'm gonna stop the brick here. You go to the gears up here in the top menu. That's where you can find all of the attachments, the sensors and the attachments by clicking the gear. Okay, and right now we have the ultrasonic. Oops, wrong way.
Can
The
we
ultrasonic and the color sensor. Yes, there's a question.
can we use the tools to attach the other ones?
Yeah, so let me show you what. Now remember, if it's let's look at over here. Let's say we wanted to add a flipper.
Right. Let's over the robot and then
Notice how it's red? That's telling me that the flipper cannot be added because there's something else in the way. The color sensor is in the way, so this is red. You can't add it.
3.
Okay, so let me go back to that again.
Okay.
Can't add the flipper.
1 here, another here, and another here.
These are all different tools that can be added.
That's too good. Yeah, this is the brick.
Somebody's.
A lot of the attachments use the same place as the ultrasonic sensor.
Right. So you can play around in there, remove the sensors and add some of the tools. You'll also notice that some of the fighting tools use a small motor, and that needs to be programmed. A lifting motor, like a lifting arm or a hammer. If you've got another motor added, you're going to have to program that motor to do something. And I haven't done that here in this session because we're just looking at using the sensors. But you can play around with adding a small motor that makes a hammer arm or a lifting arm move once it comes into contact with the sumo robot. Okay, so right now all we have is we don't have any battle plows or lifting arms or anything like that. We just have the color sensor to detect the white edge of the ring, and we have the ultrasonic sensor added on to detect the opponent in the ring. Okay, down in the programming, we are using the loop infinitely to just continue to seek and destroy, to continue to find either the edge of the ring or to find the opponent. And we're using the switch along with the ultrasonic sensor. The switch says if you detect white, it tells it what to do if it detects white, or if it detects the opponent using the ultrasonic sensor, it tells it what to do.
Get a spelling error.
I probably do. I was typing really fast.
It's where it says without comments.
Okay, so let's watch what it does one more time here. So you hit start. It's using the ultrasonic and the light sensor. It sees the edge, backs up, does a turn, seeks the opponent, finds them 100% power, and attacks. Now, if it had a battle attachment, like a lifting arm, it could maybe try and flip the opponent. Right now, it's just using brute force at 100% power to try and push the opponent out the ring. And it takes it a while because the other robot's not moving and friction of the ring, but eventually it'll get it out. Viper, you have a question?
Yeah. Could you possibly program the other one to do the exact same thing?
Yes, you could. And that's what's
both running.
Let's give it a try. I didn't do that, so let's stop this. We'll go down to the blue robot using the same program. But the problem is what Radar had said earlier is I have to be able to start the red robot and then start the blue robot. So we'll just test that out. I haven't tried it yet, but we'll see what happens. So let's upload or download to the blue robot. Go over here, see if the blue robot got the program. It did. Let's stop the simulator so it brings it back to center. Oh, you know what we didn't do? What didn't we do to the blue robot? What's
Sensors.
missing? That's right, sensors.
Yes.
We forgot to add sensors. Good job. So we go up here to the gear, we select the blue robot, and now we can add sensors. Now notice, I want you to see something. Even though we're looking at the blue robot, you'll notice if we spin around, the red robot is still in the picture, right? That's why you still see some sensors down here in the bottom showing, because the red robot is still in the picture. But we are adding to the blue robot because we selected blue robot, and now we're going to add a color or an ultrasonic sensor to it, and it's going on the front. We say add, and notice it shows it down here now. Ultrasonic sensor number 2 on the front middle of the blue robot. And now we'll go add a color sensor number 2 right in the center to the blue robot. And we know that by rotating around, and we can see color sensor, ultrasonic sensor. And then we say, okay. Now we see that it has the ultrasonic and it has the color sensor.
Are we hear battle now?
In there. Yep, we're going to try it. We're going to upload the program and then see what happens. So I'm connected to the blue. I'm going to upload or download. All right. Now let's see how quick I can start these. And we're on the blue robot, so we'll hit start. And I'll switch to the blue or the red robot. The blue did not start. Let's go over to blue. Oh, because I didn't go down to seek and destroy. Start. There we go. Oh, now they're both battling. Oh, the red one saw it first, but blue counters and turns and scores.
Oh, they're still firing the lasers.
Yep, so that's the ultrasonic. It's sending out that radar beam. Let's stop and we'll do it again here. Stop the program. All right, let's start the red one first. Seek and destroy, go. And then we'll start the blue one. Uh-oh, blue, come on, blue. That's not fair. Hold on, let's try it again. They both didn't start.
Fight,
all right.
fight. What? Sumo, sumo, sumo.
Why won't it let me select the red?
Muted this.
For some reason, it would not let me select. Let's try this one more time because the red did not start.
Fight, fight,
Stop.
fight, fight, fight.
Stop. Both of, okay, stop. Blue is stopped, red is stopped. Okay, so now let's start the simulator. And both of them are ready. Let's start the red bot first. Go. And the blue bot. Go. There we go. Now we figured it out. Who's your money on, red or blue? Oh, they might be locked in a square dance now. It might be a stalemate. Neither one is gonna. Looks like they're locked in a deadlocked. Okay, I'm gonna stop that. All right. Does anybody have any questions on adding the sensors in the sumo field? Viper, you have a question?
What's your question?
I love that. I want to try it for myself.
Viper, go ahead. You had a question?
Is it possible to add more than 2 robots?
No, it's just the 2. Head-to-head, mano-a-mano combat.
Dang.
One-on-one. But what you could do is write 2 different programs so that they're not equal. Maybe one of them is using the flipping arm. You can program them differently and then have them battle head-to-head so they're not the very same program. You can practice doing that. I'm going to stop sharing. All right. Very cool. Does anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
That program used a loop, and it used a switch, it used the color sensor, and it used the ultrasonic sensor. You could practice using one or more sensors, and you could also practice adding on a third motor that operates
How can it have a
battle
third
arm.
motor?
Because some of those attachments in the Sumo already have a motor associated with them.
Oh,
And then all
okay.
you have to do is program, what is the motor supposed to do? Is it supposed to lift? Is it supposed to turn? You can figure that out by practicing.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, any other questions? All right, so what you have to do now before the next session, we want you to go into the maze and try using Radar's line following suggestions, following the edge, not really the line, but following the edge. And is it going to follow the outside edge on the right, the outside edge on the left? But go into maze and try following the line and see what happens. And Viper, I challenge you, actually all of you guys, if you can get into the red and make it come back, to follow the black line and come back, that would be super awesome. All right? But first, to be awesome, just get to the red. Get from green to red, and that's awesome. Super awesome is getting to red and coming back to green. That would be really impressive. You can do that. All right, so that's assignment number 1. The next assignment is to go into Sumo and be able to show us how your robot attacks another robot in the Sumo, okay? And if you can get it to use, and that's using the ultrasonic sensor or the color sensor. You can just use the color sensor just to detect the edge and keep moving around until it bumps into the other robot. Just use the color sensor to keep on the playing board. That'd be great. But if you can get it to use a loop and a switch, along with, and what I'll do is I'll take a picture. I'll do a screenshot of the code that I use to do mine, and so that way you can use it as a guide. And then you know, you can practice trying to use the loop, the switch, and both sensors. So I'll give that to Mr. Wolf, and he can send that out to you by email. And then you can use that as a guide to try and create your own, modify it, and create your own. Okay. And I'm not sure if Radar, if you want to do the same with your line following, take a screenshot of it just so they have that as a guide that they can refer back to.
Sure.
Okay, and we'll send those both to Dr. Wolf, and then he can send them out to the kids. All right, Dr. Wolf, are you available? Are you out of your meeting? He may be in another meeting, but there's a poll. I don't know if anyone else got the poll that came up on their screen. What night of the week would you attend a Python coding class?
That's what that was?
Yeah, it looks like couple people.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I clicked off. Oops.
I think these days just about any night works.
Yeah,
they're all the same
we're
to me.
all little.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. Just do it. I don't care what night. I just want to do it.
Now, if anybody has other sensor programming questions, if you're having troubles and need some questions answered, please send your questions to Dr. Wolf and he'll pass them on to me and we'll get them all answered.
All right, great job, you guys, on what you demonstrated today and what you learned. Does anyone have any other questions?
Not really.
Okay, well, you got your assignments, man. Let's create a killer robot in the Sumo and show us that good line following. Be like a bloodhound and show us that good line following skills in the maze. Okay. All right. Please email robotics@Minnesota STEM Partners. That information. All right. Perfect. We are going to be sending. You guys will look for the screenshots for the line following program from Radar, and the screenshot for the Sumo Loop program from myself. And both of those will be coming in an email from Dr. Wolf here real soon, okay? All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I think we are good until next time. Radar, you good? Got anything?
I think we're good. One thing I'll tell you, if you get a really good sumo program and you want to take on one of mine, I'll send you the code for mine and you can do a battle.
Ooh, there's a challenge. I like that.
That's a challenge for next week. If you get a really good sumo program running, I'll send you one to battle against.
Radar, we still need a battle.
You bet.
All right, guys, we will see you next Saturday. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.